and they land in the U.S. Columbia University offers some offices at Teachers College on Morningside Heights. I believe it's 123rd. I'm in New York a lot, and I always pass Teachers College, and I remember, oh my God, they were here. And they begin to write about the United States. The third director of the Institute, then Max Horkheimer, writes in 1937 a very insightful, for them, essay called Traditional Theory and Critical Theory. And he said, he juxtaposes the two. He says traditional theory is what creates the conceptual superstructure that leads to capitalism and parliamentary democracy in the country, and what we had in the United States and in most of Western Europe at that point, not Germany, obviously, or Mussolini's Italy. And what we need is critical theory to question all the tenets, to question all the basics, to lead to revolutionize. And it's an incessant questioning of the Judeo-Christian worldview in order to undermine it. And they did not like the United States. They thought that we were boring boobs who were just happy, but were not good revolutionaries. This is a problem they always have. They were very happy to go back to Germany after the U.S. Army liberates Germany. They go back to Germany, I believe, in 1949. Adorno and Pollock and Horkheimer, but they leave behind. I forget, Pollock may have died, but going through memory. Adorno definitely, and Horkheimer definitely, but Marcuse, who was Horkheimer's assistant, Herbert Marcuse, who was younger, gets left behind, and he actually goes to work for the State Department. He works for the CIA, hires him. He does analysis for them for some time, or the precursor to the CIA. And then he becomes a professor of philosophy and begins to write books and has ideas that are really undermining America. He writes Eros and Civilization in 1955, in which he writes that we can use sex to destroy the family and therefore destroy society. And the urge for sex is so strong, one of man's greatest urges, that we can use this to destroy the monogamic family, the monogamous family. And then in 1964, he writes One-Dimensional Man, also becomes a bestseller, and the New York Times calls him the guru of the New Left, the guru of the New Left. And the New Left was these new Marxists who were no longer attached, or they're no longer really agents of Moscow, but who wanted to introduce Marxism in America. And they were Marxists, they were Americans, American-born Marxists, and in Great Britain, they were British-born Marxists, and in Japan, Japanese-born Marxists, Canada, because the New Left is a phenomenon that takes place in Canada, Japan, Western Europe, and the United States. And the guru of the New Left, Herbert Marcuse, is sitting there in 1966 or 67, and he sees the riots. And that reminds him of the council movement. That reminds him of Kiel. He wasn't in Kiel, I forget what city. I think he may have been in Frankfurt himself. And he says, the American worker is no good. The American worker is not. One of the things that the New Left was doing is they were looking for a substitute proletariat, somebody who was going to substitute the American worker as the agent of revolution. And Herbert Marcuse has his insight and says it's going to be the ghetto population, people of other races. And he takes a direct hand in this. And he is the philosophy teacher of Angela Davis, the communist that then became a leader in the Black Panther, was arrested after a chase. He was on the FBI's most wanted list because she was involved in the murder of a judge. She had bought the gun, but she ends up being she's not acquitted. I mean, she's acquitted. She's not found guilty. And he taught her philosophy at Brandeis in Boston, and he was her teacher again in San Diego later on. And we can go into Angela Davis later, but he becomes Abbie Hoffman is another student to Herbert Marcuse. And his writing he is the one man, and there are not many in this list, that is criticized by name by the Vatican, by the Pope, in the late 60s.
So the Frankfurt School got implanted. You had a break in theory with Gramsci that set it all up. The troops came in with the Frankfurt School, right. And it was kind of a situation where you know, you talk about, I don't know whether it's Machiavelli or Arab thinking where the enemy of my enemy is my friend, but all these minorities started seeing they had a similar goal to bring down America in a later stage capitalism situation.